Sometimes he'll use a sheepdog. That sheep starts wandering away from the fold, and that sheepdog laying down there by the shepherd's going. He's just waiting. Give me the signal. And all the shepherd has to do is snap his finger. Phew! Man, that sheepdog runs around the flock. That one that's wandered away bites that thing on the back like, ow! Have you ever seen a sheep jump whenever like, I mean, phew! That fluffy thing all the way in the air and then back to the fold. Now, if you were there listening to the conversation, it'd be pretty interesting. Because the sheep back in the fold now is saying, you can't believe it! The devil bit me right here on my back leg! Now, if you're listening to the shepherd, here's what the shepherd says. Yes, he did, but he works for me. Greater is he that is in you than the sheepdog devil that's in the world. Do you hear what I'm saying? Now, I think Job gives us a clue here. You have to be careful with fear, because as a man thinketh in his heart, as a man thinketh in his heart, because your imagination is the most powerful part of your being. So what you imagine to be true, even though it's not true, to you it becomes true, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now you're in Job chapter 3. If we were to ask Job to explain what he thinks happened, I believe he would tell us just exactly what it says right here in Job chapter 3, verse 25. Now look at it. We're talking about fear. For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me. Now, if you're the richest man in the world, what would you be afraid of?
Losing it all.
Losing it all. If you had 10 children, what would you be fearful of? Losing my kid. And he also lost his health for a while. You know what happens when you get older? You let the fear of health do some real damage to you. You hear what I'm saying? Well, I don't know. My dad died before he was 60 of a heart attack. My brother died when he was 59 of a heart attack. I'm 57. Do you hear what I'm saying? Now pay attention to this. As a man thinketh in his heart, it's self-fulfilling prophecy. You got to be careful of that. So, your imagination will control your physical body. It'll also control your emotions, your soul, how you feel and how you think about things. And it'll also control your spiritual life. Your imagination will control your spiritual life. Sometimes something will happen in your life. By the way, I told you, God will drop the hedge for a couple of reasons. He'll drop the hedge of protection because we've gotten out from underneath the umbrella of protection. Another time, God, I think in Job's case, He dropped the hedge of protection to give Job a test. Once you pass the test, guess what? Then God has a legal right then to bless you twice as much as He would have otherwise. And I know we don't like the test, but as soon as you pass the test, watch out. Here comes the avalanche of blessings that you wouldn't swap and trade for anything. You hear what I'm saying? So, your imagination is so powerful. And understand this. The opposite of fear is faith. When you're afraid of something, then it means you've lost faith. You've dropped the shield of faith. That's what you've done. I also believe that, it does rain around here, doesn't it? I never thought that was possible. I can hear it now. I believe your imagination really controls your spirit too, your spiritual life. Because I can remember almost as if it was yesterday, as a policeman going to church, lost, and I sat out there in the pews, and it didn't take long, and I've just been so thankful to the Lord. You know, all the churches we could have gone to, it was a Bible-believing church. Everybody brought their Bible. It was just, how kind of the Lord is that. Sitting out there, now here's what. My belief was that when you die, you're going to get on a scale. And if you're good outweighs your bad, you get to go to heaven. And that was my imagination. I imagined as a policeman, I was putting the bad guys in jail, doing good things, and probably I would get to go to heaven. Except for some scripture verses that I kept hearing. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. You hear what I'm saying? So once my imagination got adjusted, then I began to smell the smoke of hell while I was sitting out there in the pew. I began to see how much God loved me to send His Son to die for my sins. And I also smelled the smoke of hell. If I didn't make the transition quick enough, I could die as a policeman on the job in a car wreck or something, and then I would go to hell. Now, my imagination is exactly what the Lord began to deal with. See what I mean? Now, the truth of the matter is, I believe people get saved right back there before they ever step out and come forward. They settle it there. This is just confirmation of what you've already been thinking about and under conviction and finally made the choice to do it. Your imagination is powerful. So I got saved. Wonderful thing. Then I was a policeman, full uniform, going to court one day. I got on the elevator, and it went up to the next floor, opened up, and a black man got on, suit, tie, hat, and he got on the elevator, and he reached in his pocket, and he pulled out these little things. How to get to Fort Dodge, or how to get to heaven from Fort Dodge, Iowa. Okay, I don't think that was the track, but he pulled these out and he started handing it to everybody on the elevator. I took one, I looked at that, and I thought, what is that? I had never seen a track before. Now catch this. And I opened it up. Huh. I read it. I wrote away. This is how you get to heaven. Huh. Well, I couldn't believe that. This guy handed me something to tell me how to get to heaven. So the elevator stopped. I was supposed to get off, but I wanted to talk to this guy. But there's a law on the elevators. You can't talk on the elevator. Did you ever notice that? I thought he was breaking the law. You get on the elevator and everybody stares at this number. Ding. So he got off, and I called him. I said, excuse me, you gave me one of these. I was just a brand new Christian. You gave me one of these little things. He said, yeah, it's called a track. Oh. So, okay. I said, it tells you how to get to heaven. I said, I've done that. He said, well, that's great. He said, I've done that too. He said, that makes God our Father. I said, yeah. He said, that makes us brothers. And he stuck out his hand. I'm thinking, I don't know about that. I've never had to figure that out yet. You know, I'm white, he's black. You hear what I'm saying? But now listen, can I tell you, in God's forever family, I think it's pretty much all the colors. Are you with me? And so I said, well, good. Now, here, listen. That one act on the elevator stimulated my spiritual imagination. As a man thinketh in his heart, I walked away from that conversation, and all I could think about all day was, I can't believe that. These little things, all he just handed it to everybody. I just was excited about it. I couldn't wait to get to church. I went to church, told my pastor, I said, you know, on the elevator, a guy handed me one of these things. He said, that's a track. I said, yes, what do you call it? And I said, look at that, it tells you how to get to heaven. He said, yeah. I said, I want to get some of these. He said, well, now, when you walk in the church, in the lobby there's a bunch of them on the wall. I said, really? You know how sometimes you just walk past the obvious? So he said, yeah. I said, okay, now I want to buy some of those. He said, no, these are free. Oh, I said, so man, I loaded up my box. Now catch this. He was stimulating my spiritual imagination. I was beginning to imagine myself doing that. As a man thinketh in his heart. It's more important than this thing. So, I wasn't real brave, but there were 12 stories in the police headquarters. And my goal was, I'm going to go to every one of the bathrooms in the 12-story building and lay one of these little things, you know, the men's bathrooms. So I took a stack of these things and I would go in and, you know, I wasn't brave, but I'd go every stall and place it in a real obvious place. And I'd go over to the next stall. Lay another one in there, see? I hung around the bathrooms a lot in those days. And then I would go there and just kind of wondering, somebody's going to get saved. I just go there and I'd wash my hands, and then I would looked out way. I could almost see somebody kneeling down at the throne getting saved. I was so excited about it. You hear what I'm saying? Now, I wasn't real brave, but that one man stimulated my imagination. As a man thinketh in his heart,